Hi. So I'm trying to get this edit together of these 4 clips that I recorded um, after I'd mixed the record that came out like a month ago from Cut Copy that I mixed with them in Svenska Gramophone Studio in Gothenburg, and it was an occasion where I used my mixdown technique that I haven't really seen anyone else using. I don't know if there are probably other people working like this that I don't know of. But I think it's kind of a good way to do it. So yeah, I recorded these clips to share some of it, but I'm recording this now today before posting because I think it needs some context. I was like super tired after mixing for weeks. So I'm really tired when I record this, and yeah, maybe you'll have to, have some patience watching it. Anyway, the context is why it's so hard to work in a hybrid way in a modern, or like in a traditional studio, I should say. Traditional studios are built for tracking multiple microphones and sources, recording those tracks, and then playing that multi-track back and summing it to 2 channels. And yeah, I mean, when I started out mixing, mixing was like putting a multi-track down to 2 tracks, a stereo mix, and make it sound really good. And if someone wanted to change it, you would do a recall, and it would cost money and it would take a long time. Sometimes like it takes as long to do a recall as actually doing a mix sometimes. And yeah, now 25 years later, there's just not that patience in the industry for doing it. It's also you're not really doing a stereo mix anymore. You're supposed to do stems and so on. And back then, when I was doing like the knife stuff and the Fever Ray stuff, stems, it wasn't so common to do like electronic backtrack live stuff as it is today. So over the years I've had situations where you deliver an album mix, and then 3 months later you hear from the management and they want stems for everything. And you've moved on. It's not really fun to sit and, just print stems for days. So I wanted to come up with a way of doing this that's efficient, that makes you sort of, in a way that you don't have to do all these recalls. And this is my way of trying to do it. And it's basically like flipping the script and using the studio, a rented studio, more like for a tracking session than a mixing session. So instead of tracking multiple microphones, instruments, etc., you're actually tracking your own submixes. So I have 2 submixes for drums, 2 for bass, vocals, etc. I mix always in a template session where my submixes are sent post fader to my outputs on my interfaces, and I'll bring my interfaces to a studio, most often Svenska Grammophon-studion in Gothenburg, and I used my interfaces as the sources. So then I set up several mixes. I do like a I set up all the tracks to just go through the desk, and I set up mixes, like one main mix with some mix bus processing, one instrumental mix, one a cappella mix, and versions should you, or anyone in the project wants other mixes of some kind. You can do like only a dry mix without effects returns. You can do only the mix, the wet effect returns as one mix. Then you can, if that mix comes out sounding too wet or too dry, you can balance it afterwards and only sum those two and balance it without doing a full recall. If you want the vocals to come up, you don't have to resum it. You just sum the instrumental and the a cappella and you pull up the vocal. If you want a certain bass to come down in the mix, since you're recording everything at once, you can actually invert the phase of that bass and just put it up in the mix. So let's say you want the bass to come down. You play the full mix and the bass stem. You reverse the phase of the bass stem and bring it up in the mix. That will lower the bass in your mix. So it's basically a way of sort of using the traditional studio setup for tracking to do a mixdown. And it's very economical because you can basically come into the studio in the morning and do the calibration, which the calibration is coming in the next few clips. You do the calibration, and when you've done that, you can basically print, you can print as many songs as you want, because you press record once, you play the song once, and you will have all the mix versions. You will have all the stems. You'll have everything at once. And it only takes as long as the song is. So it's a 5-minute song. It takes you 5 minutes to print everything for that song. I hope this is not too confusing, but hopefully it makes sense. And if it doesn't, I'll make another video or something. Let me know. and maybe I can do that someday. Hope you all will enjoy. Bye bye.